Everybody, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Here, I got a special guest, man. I got a special one for us today, man. Listen, I got none other than my brother himself, Mr. Muhammad. Man, this guy here, it would be fair to say that he's probably lived three or four different lives within his years here already.
Right.
Has an incredible story, doing amazing things. So my man here, just a little bit of a bio. He came to the U.S. Here in 2014, and the way how we connected, we were teammates actually in college playing basketball together. So he was a student athlete, and now he's doing this thing in construction as a virtual design engineer, doing big things. But he also has a nonprofit organization, absolutely just killing it, man. Really being a major inspiration and just being a great leader as well for the people here in the States and obviously for his people back home. So, my guy, Mo, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, OP. So good to see you. Thank you for having me on this podcast, man. I'm super, super excited, man. I'm excited. Let's
Yes,
get it rolling.
sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you joining me on here. I know you didn't have to do it, but I appreciate you joining me. So, man, honestly, we'll hop straight into it because, like I said, man, you probably lived like three or four different lives already, just within your years of living. But I want to see for you what I guess what was it like in terms of transitioning from home, from where you're from, to here in the States? What was that initial transition like? And then just picking up the game of basketball. Like, can you talk a little bit about that to
Yeah.
get us started?
So, I would tell you that coming to America might be the single best thing that ever happened in my whole entire life.
Mm,
I'm hoping that I'll be able to top that maybe one day when I'm married and I have kids. But that's
yeah.
at this point, getting on that plane and flying hundreds of thousands of miles to come over here,
Mm,
that itself was probably the best thing that happened to me. Life
mm,
before basketball, I mean, it was just, if I want to summarize, it was just a life of hunger. Hunger, not a lot of hope. I grew up in a third world country. I'm Nigerian, and I grew up in northern Nigeria, Suleja precisely. And, you wake up in a home where in the morning you wake up every day, over here you expect kids, kids wake up and they're expecting food. You wake
mm,
up, mama has food ready, you eat, you go to school. That was not the case, man. You never
mm,
know when some days you wake up, you see food, some days you don't, and you just got to keep going through it. I remember one time being so hungry, I looked up to my dad, and I was asking like, "Hey, Dad, what are we eating today?" I'm talking about it's 10 a.m., bro, Saturday.
yeah.
My dad's like, "I have no idea. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you, son, but you know."
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, "Are we just gonna go by today and not eat? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just
Yeah.
no food today." So, fast forward, man. I've always been athletic. I used to play soccer.
Mhm.
And I had got into a fight playing at the soccer field where I used to play. Got into it bad with this kid. He was part of a gang member. He had it out for me. And because my friends were around me and it was like, don't back down. So I was talking crazy to him. And dude was like, yo, I see you out here again, I'm gonna kill you.
Mm,
And somebody went and told my dad. And my dad, I don't play with my dad, man. That man say something, you gotta do it. And he was like, I don't want to see you play soccer no more. That's kind of like how I found basketball. But just to
okay.
fast forward, got opportunity, representing Nigeria under 15 in South Africa. We had they educated us about the opportunity to come to America. And after that, man, it was just history, man. Found a way to come over here.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because I remember you telling me, I remember you telling me years back that your first sport was soccer.
Right.
And I didn't even know how the transition came about from soccer to basketball. I wasn't aware. But now knowing that story, man, that's it's crazy. Actually, I never knew
Yeah,
that
it
until
was it
today.
was it was it was a butt whooping that took me. I
Yeah.
don't us on here, but it was a butt whooping that took me from soccer to basketball. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh man. No, that's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy, bro. But I appreciate you for sharing that. So let me ask you this. In in terms of your basketball journey, um, how did you end up? I'll ask you this last question. How did you end up in Louisiana Tech out of all
all the
universities?
schools.
Out of all
So
schools.
when I came to the US, it's Man, I've lived in 8 different states in America, man. You know,
Hmm.
when we went to South Africa, I think the life-changing moment for me in South Africa was when we woke up in the morning and we were all supposed to go eat, and it was a buffet. At this point, I have never seen a buffet ever. I
Yeah.
seen on TV. I've seen this James Bond movie where they have parties and there's food everywhere.
Hmm.
And so for me, it was just something. It was something that my mind cannot. I couldn't imagine it. So I
Right.
go into this room and there's just food everywhere.
Hmm.
And the first thought in my head was like, there's this much food in this world. Because the most food I've ever really seen, right, was I'm talking about even back in the boarding school, it wasn't for just me. You know, it's for like
Right.
thousands of people. So, but it's like we were only like 60 athletes and there was this much food. So I just
Hmm.
busted out crying, man. I started crying. My friends were like, what's going on? And I couldn't explain to nobody.
Hmm.
And that right there made me was like, yo, man, there's this much food, there's this much resources in the world. I gotta step out, because up until that point, all my dream was eat. That's my dream. If you ask me, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nigga, I want to have food. I don't want to be hungry.
Yeah.
But at this point, I was like, man, I guess this basketball is the thing, man. So, start pushing basketball, had a scholarship. So up on that point, I had no plans. I just wanted to get to America. I just believed if I got to the States, I'm not going to be hungry. I'll be able to
Hmm.
give my parents a better life. I knew what time it was when I got on the plane.
Hmm.
But the day where my dad took me to the airport and I was about to get on the plane, because that happened in 2013, early
Hmm.
2013. So a year later, you know, dreams come true. I remember saying a prayer to God when I was going to go, get my visa. And I told God, God, if you give me this opportunity to go to America, I'll never ask of anything from you again. That is how much I needed it. But I mean,
Hmm.
as you know, I still went back and asked
Yeah,
God for
yeah, of
things.
course.
But so I was at the airport, I was about to get on the plane, and I told my dad, and my dad was like, okay, goodbye. And that's when it hit me. Like, what in the world are you doing, Mo? You go into a country where you don't speak their language, you don't understand their culture. This is a game that you're not that good at, and you just finna step out, and it was scary. And I remember thinking to myself, because I was 16 years old, and I remember
Mhm.
thinking to myself, I was like, Dad, I wish my dad would tell me right now, don't go. Like, I would
Mhm.
literally stay, you know.
Yeah.
But once I came into the US, I went through a lot. Lived with a family in Alabama. That didn't work out. I got kicked out. I
Mhm.
went down to Florida. I was at a school where, every like the school didn't have, it was a boarding school, but they wouldn't feed us. Everybody had to
Hmm.
have their own money.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm telling you, man, for the longest in America, I could not afford $10. I just didn't have
Wow.
it. I didn't even have a bank account. How can I have $10, right?
Right.
I didn't have a phone, I didn't have anything. I was just getting through. And
Hmm.
it was so hard because all the kids, their parents bought them groceries. And for me, I didn't have any groceries. So on Wednesday, when everybody goes to Walmart to go buy their groceries, everybody takes their money and they go buy. I just be hanging out. It was like, you're not coming? I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna just play the game. But it was really
Hmm.
because I didn't want to be embarrassed, because if I go
Wow.
to Walmart, I'm gonna come out with an empty cart.
Hmm.
So once the guys started to like figure that out and they knew that, oh, this is, so the reason Mo was not going to Walmart is because he couldn't afford it. I
Hmm.
remember them put together $50 for me to buy groceries. And I think that is that I'm gonna tie back into that story later, but I think that's one of the reasons that I do what I do today. But
Hmm.
fast forwarding, left Florida, went to Michigan for a little bit, didn't work out, went back to Alabama, a different place, didn't work out. And I finally got a scholarship, to play at Jacksonville State, but I couldn't
Hmm.
stay because, I didn't have the NCAA clearance. So,
Hmm.
um, my schooling situation in Nigeria was very horrible. The school that I went to was a low graded school. I had no idea I was smart till I came to America. I didn't really know much, but the school didn't have a system of keeping transcripts as to, like you just get transcripts because you go to the next class. They didn't,
Right.
nobody from that school has ever went to America. So when it was time for my NCAA clearance, NCAA was asking for my transcripts. And I was
Hmm.
like, what's that? And I was like, my results. So I called them. I was like, hey, I need my results. They was like, what are you talking about? You left. Like, you don't have no results. I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but if I don't have results, I won't be able to go to school. And I cannot afford school.
Right.
So they put together the transcript, they sent it to me. The NCA was like, this is not what we're looking for. It's not complete. They sent another one. The NCA was like, okay, you sending too many files now. This doesn't make sense. So bam, ineligible. I couldn't play college ball. So here I am in the US. I don't promise my parents that I'm gonna come here and be great. I'm gonna make it to the NBA. I am not as good as in basketball like I thought I would be. I don't have I had a scholarship, but now I don't have it no more because I'm not eligible. So there's no coach that wants to take me. So yeah, I was stuck in this country. And that's when I found out, I could go JUCO. Took the opportunity, went to Idaho, played for a year, transferred over to a school in Bossier Parish, Louisiana. That's where I played, became the Louisiana Player of the Year for junior college. And that's where Coach Conco, who was our head coach at Louisiana Tech, got me a scholarship. It was the only scholarship that I had. I never came on an official visit. The day I remember how I got a scholarship, I was at that event where they were giving me, because even at that point, I still was not eligible to play NCAA. So I went through my junior college days every day on, knowing that this might be the end of it. I might never get a degree. So while I was getting my associate degree, because I knew I couldn't get a degree, I was working on 2 degrees, because I was like, hopefully, if I have 2 degrees, they can count for something. If I can't get a big degree, somebody might give me a job because I have 2 associates. But on that day when we're giving that award, I remember Coach Conco asking, like, who's this kid? He can rebound the ball. He got good grade. And he was like, come on over for, a tryout. I went down to Louisiana Tech. I met the likes of Derek Jean, Daquan Bracey, Jacoby Pemberton. And they were having like a workout. My boys, man.
Man.
I was in the workout with I was kind of nervous. I was like, didn't know what's up, but I had a good showing. And 2 weeks later, coach gave me a scholarship. And he asked me if I wanted to come visit the campus and check it out. And I told him, man, you ain't got to worry about that. Just send me this papers and I'll sign. So to ask the question, I know that was a long story, but that's kind of how I got to Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, because I remember that time. I don't know if it was when you were here for either the tryout or like the official visit, one or the other. I think I was out of town at that time, and so I come back and everybody said, "Oh, we had to visit this guy named Mo," and I was like, "Okay, well, like I don't know who this guy is. Like, how was he? Like, was he solid?" He's like, "Yeah, maybe looking for a big. He was solid. He works real hard." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, we'll see. Like, we'll see whenever he gets out."
Yeah.
Like, we'll see.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
awesome.
And it's so cool just kind of hearing the story from your perspective in terms of what really happened, and just kind of really seeing it all come together full circle, man. That's amazing, bro. Absolutely amazing. Cool. Yeah, man. So I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. It's an amazing story. So transitioning into this nonprofit organization, we'll talk about. Well, actually, let's talk about that first. What is the organization that you started, and I guess what gave you the inspiration to create it, to put it together?
Okay, so GRAB Foundation, so GRAB, Grassroots Africa Basketball. I know it can be a lot. It can be a lot for the for the tongue, but the reason I started it was because coming to this country, a lingering thought that I've always had at the back of my mind was just, what makes America America, right? I mean, you look at the stats, everybody wants to use a dollar, everybody wants to live here. The Mexicans don't want to be in Mexico, they want to be here. There's a lot of Nigerians in America. Why why Americans not want to go live in Nigeria? Why is everybody trying to come here? And the basic answer, it would be, it's a better life. But what makes it a better life? Why can't we, we on the same earth, we actually have more resources than you guys. US, y'all actually don't have a lot of natural resources. We have limestone, we have iron ore, we have water, we have crude oil. We actually have more crude oil, petrol than Qatar, even though Qatar is one of the richest countries in Africa has. Yes, and about 3 weeks ago, they just found even a new area that has even way more than we expect, right? So we got all of this. We got tin and columbite. So we got it. The riches of the world, if you ever see the movie Wakanda, forever, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Black
Mm-hmm.
Panther, those riches, we do have it. But why doesn't our life reflect it? And it came down to me, it's the people. It's the people. There is a don't want to get religious here, but there is a verse that is in the Quran and it's in the Bible. And God says that he will never change the state of a people until they themselves change. You know, the prophet said this to his people. Jesus said this to the Israelites when they were expecting him to conquer the Romans and bring out sword. And he was like, no, you have to first change. So I believe that the reason why my people are where they are today, it's because of the people. You know, here in America, you have people that are willing to pay their taxes. You know, there are people that are willing to put into nonprofits, do good. This is Christmas. There's a lot of people going out their way to buy gifts for other people. And we might look at this as materialistic things, but in my own experience, and I might be wrong, but in my experience, people here are willing to do more for than just themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been given this opportunity where a lot of kids wanted to come to America. They didn't get that opportunity. No matter how sad my story might sound, I am beyond blessed because I did nothing to deserve the opportunities that I was given. Yeah, I went through a lot. I was hungry, but I ended up playing college basketball. You know, I got 5 degrees. I got my master. I got 2 masters now. You know what I'm saying? I've achieved a lot. I just bought a house in Nashville. You know,
Yeah.
I'm respected in my company. What did I do to deserve all of this, right? So somebody created opportunity somewhere. So when you start to understand where the opportunities come from, you can quickly see why I had to start Grad Foundation. I owed it to my people. I had to do something back. So for me, Grassroots Africa Basketball is a platform that tries to use basketball as a way to keep kids motivated, to give kids hope. You know, we do a lot of things like donate shoes. I know you're a big ambassador for us. You
Yep.
emptied out all of your closet for us just to, make sure those kids had shoes.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? So, which is very appreciated, but that's kind of like where it started. So the vision, however, the dream and the vision for Grad Foundation itself, I have never told anybody this, but it was not mine. I have a mentor. He that's what he does. When I was a kid, he was one of the people that motivated me to play basketball. Because when I transitioned from soccer, there was one day we was at I didn't have any basketball shoes. I was 15 years old, never owned a new pair of shoes in my life at this point. And somebody was like, hey, there's a dude doing a basketball clinic and he's giving people shoes. And I'm like, what? It's like, yo, that dude is giving people shoes, bro. I was like, there's no way. Because,
Yeah.
like food is hard, but shoes are even more expensive.
Yeah.
So I walk up to this place. I'm barefooted. I'm there with my friends. This dude sees me. I'll never forget. He calls me up. He was like, what's your name? I was like, my name is Mo. My name is Mubarak. He was like, what size of shoe do you wear? And I was like, I don't know, because I didn't know what shoe size I was.
Yeah.
Like, you look like a 14, and he gave me a new pair of shoes. I never remember green 3-stripe Adidas. Those shoes were fire, and he gave and that inspired me. So I stayed in touch with him. He lived in America. He lived in DC. So when I was about to graduate at Tech, he told me that, hey, Mo, you have an awesome opportunity. The people that love you, I believe that if you ask people to donate shoes, that you wanted to give it back to kids, kind of like what I did for you. He never told me about this while I was in Nigeria. This was in 2013. And fast forward 7 years to 2020, when I was graduating, he gives me this call. Hey, remember when I gave you those shoes that day? How did you feel? How about you do that for other people? I was like, wow. So he instilled that thought in me. And then we started talking. I didn't know how to go about it. And, one thing led to another. I was like, hey, guys, do you guys think you could donate some of your shoes to me? And everybody's like, yeah, that ain't no problem. Let us know. Next thing I know, I'm at 70 pairs of shoes. I'm at 80. And he was like, you could start a foundation. And, as an engineer, I didn't know a lot about starting a nonprofit. But that's kind of like what led started the wheel for that, started a nonprofit. Now we're 501c3. We don't even do much of basketball no more. We really just focus on, taking care of orphans and just feeding them, But, to what motivated me, I mean, it's just a sense of purpose, man. I think everybody in this world needs to understand that wherever you're at today, somebody help make it possible, whether it's your parents, whether it's the school that you go to, whether it's the car that you drive. I know you paid dollar for it, but somebody helped make it possible. And once we can start thinking about how can we give back and not just necessarily how much we can take, you know, I think that would go a long way.
Yeah, man, that's a fact. And at some point in time in our lives, someone had to make a sacrifice, either directly in terms of child and the parent, direct sacrifice, or like you said, it can be an indirect sacrifice. Like somebody way over in who knows where had to sacrifice time from their family to put together these pair of shoes or this car that you're about to buy, or whatever the case may be. Right. So someone had to make a sacrifice at some point in time in their lives to ultimately for you to have the things that you have, material and sometimes even not material, just to have life itself.
Right.
And I think that's you hit the nail on the head with that one. That's good. It's always important for us to give back and ultimately pay it forward. Because I mean, like you said, hey, I mean, a lot of us, the things that we have, we don't really deserve. Especially just being here in America, it's a place full of abundance. Obviously, you have some areas where it's a little bit of lack, but in comparison to other countries, opportunities are endless. It's just abundance here, in terms of materials and a lot of other things as well. So I mean, hey, it's only right that we give it back to somebody. So,
Amen.
man, you're spot on. You're spot on. So, in the process of putting it together, I didn't know that it was actually an idea of someone else to, like I say, they kind of put it on you. Now you see it more of like kind of like your duty or your obligation, right? To give back, which is amazing. It's great. What are some of the challenges that either that you're facing currently, or at least whenever you first started, that you were kind of going through in terms of having the foundation and maybe even just balancing time between getting your master's, your first or your second master's,
Right.
and now, working now. What are some of the challenges that you consistently deal with?
So the challenges that I had when I started are not the same that I have now. You know, those challenges kind of like transition as, you know, the foundation is doing much better now.
Yeah.
Starting out, it was more about going out of my comfort zone. You know, I've never been, because if you think about nonprofit, it's kind of like a crowd-funded project, right? Nonprofits depend on other businesses, whether it's through tax, you know, deductions, whether it's just people making donations, you depend on other people, you know, so it's like you have to be able to tell a good story. You have to be able to be accountable, show, you know, good, you know, paperwork that, you know, you're trustworthy. And but for me, starting out, you know, just knowledge, not knowing a lot, man. You know, I'm an engineer. Engineering ain't got nothing to do with, you know. No, you give me some XYZ and tell me to differentiate, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it right. You feel me?
Yeah.
You start asking me to come talk in front of, you know, people and moving emotionally. I'm like, yo, man, you asking a lot. You asking for a lot.
It's kind of out my lane, right?
You know, yeah, but it's crazy when once you just take that step and you start trying and you start to realize you're actually made for this, you know, like you actually got what it takes. So those were my initial struggles, just having to start it, getting people to support it. It wasn't easy. Then halfway through, one of the struggles became it's a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit, not like others, in the sense that most of the nonprofits are the bigger nonprofits. They do their work here, and the projects are here, and the money is spent here. For Grad Foundation, it's focused on my hometown where I'm from, you know, northern Nigeria, where you have 78% unemployment rate. You have about 3 million kids in the streets that have. So in America, when you look at, you have the homeless men, you have homeless kids. That's what we have. Right. And these kids, they have parents that cannot provide for them. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can see about 3 million of kids just walking around down, you know, the street. So, yeah, you know, and for me, it was hard because it's like, how do you, because I'm not big on the whole social media showing, on TV, on camera. Oh, look, I gave this person this money. It's just for my religion and who I am. It's not what I'm about. But it's like, transition. How do you get people to buy into things they do not see? How do you share your struggles with people that have never been through that struggle? So when it first started, people used to say a lot, I do not understand what you go through. Now I can tell you that people do understand. Dogs, cats can't understand, but humans can.
Right.
If people can understand. People don't have to go through what you're going through to be able to understand what you going through. I mean, you look at American history. In the past, like when we have slavery, yeah, we could say that, the white community, the white people were the ones that enslaved black people, but who were the people that helped black people get this, get out of it at the end of the day? It was the white people, right? So do those white people, do you tell me they don't understand what they were going through? So I think we have the ability to understand, but, that has been my struggle, getting people to understand, getting people to, understand. I'm like, look, man, you got it great, man. You got it great. One of the stats that scares me every time I share this is that currently the world has enough the world in its own provides or produces 10 times the amount of food we need. So the world population provides 10 times the food we need. So we have 10 times the amount of food we need to survive and never go hungry. Yet 2/3 of the world is in poverty, deep hunger. So it's not a question of if we have it, because we have 10 times, right?
Right.
It's a question of how resourceful we are. It's not a question of resources, it's a question of being resourceful. And what I've learned is to find ways to be resourceful with the dollar, right? I think I don't care what donation you make in America, the best place to donate is Africa. One, because that is the best way to be resourceful. If you take $10 here today and you give it to somebody, all at most what $10 would do for that person is what? Buy a McDonald's meal. That same $10, you get it down to Africa. Right now we're doing a project which is Feed the Orphan, and I did the numbers and it was scary. 22 cents can buy a meal for a kid in Africa. 22 cents. And they cost for a month, because we feed our orphans twice a day, it costs $12.67. You donate $12.67 and that feed a human being for a whole month. That is less than Netflix subscription,
Yeah.
So yeah, resourcefulness, man. But again, with struggles comes, me trying to figure out how to grow. But currently the current struggle, which was the same thing I had when I was in college, was, in college I was a student athlete, and I was like, okay, now I'm done playing basketball. I think I'm still a student athlete. I believe that a student athlete is anybody that is trying to do 2-3 things at a time. And what you start to learn in life is, even though you drop basketball, you're picking up something else. It might be a hustle, it might be a responsibility as a father. But having to have a full-time job. When I was in college, I was working as a TA, so I was helping professors out. I was a basketball player. I was the president of this nonprofit. I was starting a company that in Nigeria. I was helping my family. I was working at the rec center, and I still had to have a social life. So having to juggle all of it was not easy. So thinking that maybe after college, if now that I don't have basketball and I'm not a TA, maybe, I picked up a full-time job, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm helping my parents build a pond now to help, raise money for them. So yeah, I'm still an athlete. So just having to juggle all of that, man. I think sometimes there's some days I feel like I'm not as productive, but we keep pushing.
Yeah, man, that's amazing right there. And you kind of alluded to it a little bit as well. With challenges also comes with successes as well. And I know you say you're not really big in terms of getting the camera out. Hey, look, everybody, this is what I've done. But if you just want to share, maybe one, maybe two, what are some of the things, some of the great things that your foundation has done thus far? Just some achievements, something that you can say, hey, I'm proud of this foundation accomplishing X, Y, or Z.
Right. So one thing that we do on our website is www.grabfoundation.org, and we name every project. So we started Project Zero, because I call it Project Zero because that was kind of like the groundwork even before we actually was a nonprofit. And that's where we donated about 100 pairs of shoes to kids. Then we had Project One. We built a basketball court and we named it after the Louisiana Tech basketball court, the Bulldog basketball court. It's in Nigeria right now. For that project, we were able to, it was just a way to encourage kids to play basketball, stay out of the streets, man, stay out of, this whole gang activity. Because what you have is you have parents in Nigeria that don't have much, they don't make a lot of money. And the little money they make, they have to pay school tuitions and buy all those books for their kids. And this is not a 2 days or 5 days, commitment. This is, you do that till your kid is, is 2 years old till they're like 20 something. So there's about 20 years commitment. Right. Now you've spent all this money for 20 years. They could have invested into a different business. You didn't. This kid comes out of school and he has no job. So not only have you spent all this money, you have nothing to show for it. So what's starting to happen in Nigeria is our parents are saying, nah, screw this. Why should my kid go to school? Maybe if I just use the money and, teach him how to cut hair or just do something, maybe that's a better way to go. Now, I don't want to justify any of that, but what Grad Foundation did with that basketball court was we encouraged kids, hey, you like basketball, you want to play, you want shoes, we need you to stay in school. We need you to, get educated. We were able to do that with that, that project. I think right after that, we did another basketball clinic, and that was Project 2, where we had even 250 shoes we donated. This time we had T-shirts, we had backpacks, we had people, it wasn't just kids, we had parents come over there and, kind of enjoy basketball. Then we moved into Project 3, which was rehabilitating an orphanage. So there was an orphanage, we call it AZ Orphanage. That's the orphanage that we currently taking care of. Yeah. So we wanted to raise money to help rebuild where the kids sleep because it was in a bad state. I mean, Grad Foundation, what I've done with Grad Foundation, I use Grad Foundation as a way to create jobs for my friends, my childhood friends that were in Nigeria. So they're directors, they're board members of Grad Foundation, and they help me execute what needs to be done, and they get paid for it. That's amazing. And they went out to the orphanage to check it out, which is what we always do when we find a project that we're interested in. We go over there, we do some interviews, we push out some videos, we talk to some people, and we raise funds and we get it done. Yeah. When they went out there to check it out, my friend called me. He's like, bro, I can't breathe. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, it stinks so bad where the kids sleep. I was like, why? He's like, dude, because the buildings are just walls with no windows. And right behind it is where they do this stuff, like where they have to go pee and shit. So it's like you just in there, you just, get all of that. And I was like, how old are these kids again? He was like 9, 10 years old, man. So we had almost 200 kids that are living in a horrible situation. And not to even blow your mind, we had a kid that it was a night and it was cold. In Nigeria, we don't have the summer, winter. It's different type of season. So you have the rainy and the dry season. So during the dry season, you have the harmattan wind that makes it really cold and windy. Yeah. So it was at night. These kids were sleeping. They sleep on the bare floor. And one of the kids just woke up and he was crying. I got a headache. My head hurts. And, they were trying to figure out what to do. They gave him some medicine, some ibuprofen. Nothing was working. And the next morning, they took him to a hospital and he was still crying. So the doctor had to put him on some type of sedative to put him to sleep. While this kid was laying on the doctor's table, a scorpion crawled out his ear. Apparently, the night before, while it was cold, a scorpion had crawled into his ear, and that's why he had the headache. And this is just one story, from what these kids were going through. So they've been exposed to this. These are kids like, this is the age you're supposed to watch Ben 10, right? But no, you have a scorpion crawling out of your ear. So, once we heard that, we knew we had to do something. So we did some fundraisers, partnered with the IFC, International Fraternity Council at Louisiana Tech campus. We were able to raise some money and rehabilitated the whole thing. And we bought them beds, we bought them pillows. If you go on our website, you can see the whole, change that we made. It was amazing. Then Project 4, we went into building a water system. So we bought this 5,000 liter tank that hosted water for them, and they can get water whenever. So right now, our kids don't have to go into they don't have to walk miles to go get water. They can just go over to a tap and get that done. And I'm talking about projects like this. We spent we rehabilitated the whole place with like $10,000, right? We built a water system with like $3,000. So it's like again, resourcefulness. We've seen like you
Right.
can do so much good with little. Right
Mm.
after that, right after we did the project 4 with the water system, we went back to project 5, build a cafeteria, which we just did. So, for the cafeteria, the motivation was just honestly, the motivation just came from me spending a lot of time at Louisiana Tech cafeteria.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I was like, man, I know basketball was hard, but I don't know how I would have played basketball at Tech without the calf, man. I
Right.
needed that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Boy got feet, bro. So,
Thanks.
you know, so I looked at the cafeteria. I was like, okay, every Wednesday we had chicken. We had certain days that you get excited. On Monday, you're
Mhm.
not too excited. They got the burgers and they're not too good. So I was like, let's model something like this for these kids, man.
Mhm.
So, we went into planning. Basically, we had a hall that we turned into a calf. We just needed to employ some chefs, put them on salary monthly,
Yeah.
and we got some good people to volunteer. I think our chef currently makes $100 a month, but over there that's good money,
Yeah.
and feeds our kids twice a day. That's 14 times a week.
Mm.
So we set that up. We built the calf. My mom helped. She made a list of everything we needed. I'm talking about the fridge, the
That's
microwave,
cool.
oven. So we got it all out there. And now we're on project 6. You have a calf, you have a meal plan,
Hmm.
but you need money to continuously feed these kids. So right now we're on project 6. Project 6 is just raising money. It costs us $8,000 per quarter to
Hmm.
feed these kids. That's $2,667 per month.
Hmm.
And with $2,667, you are feeding 210 kids. So what we have created is the Feed the Orphan Project, which is a type of subscription where, like I said, for less than a Netflix subscription a month, you feed a person. So
Right.
if we able to get 210 people, we feed 210 kids.
Mm.
So you can go on our website, www.graphfoundation.org, and on there, there is a way that there's a link you can just click on and you make this donation, and it's just a monthly subscription. And by doing that, you sign up for our weekly newsletter, where every week we send out just stories like, scorpion crawling out a kid's ear, or maybe just the things that these kids go through, not to entertain you, but to let you understand where your money is going, let you understand what certain people have to live through. The stories don't make social media. You're not going to see them on Instagram with 200 million likes, but their story is worth telling. So
Hmm.
that's kind of like where we at now. We're creating a community, with Grad Foundation for people
Yeah.
that genuinely care for things like this, that care for, third world countries like Nigeria, and they want to be part of it. So that's where we at. We're on our 7th project, although that's project 6.
Okay. Okay, cool, man. That's amazing. So you guys have done, let's see, this foundation has been up and running for how long? 3 years?
2 years now, since
Okay,
20.
so 2 years. Okay, yeah, so it's been up for 2 years. You guys have gotten, I mean, a lot of stuff done, man. And honestly, it's really inspirational to see just even from afar. And obviously, I'm doing everything it is I can. I'm looking to contribute even more to you guys' success because I want to see you win, but I also want to help kids over there back in Nigeria as well. I mean, it's important. So, man, hey, look, keep doing your thing, bro, because it's just within that 2 year time. Like I said, it's crazy just seeing the progress that the foundation has had thus far. And I know you guys are looking to just expand even more.
That's right.
So I'm asking about two more questions
Okay.
and then we'll wrap. So man, we covered over a lot of stuff. But let me ask you this. For somebody that may want to open up their own nonprofit organization for themselves, what's some
Right.
advice you would give to them in terms of them just starting their own organization? What's some advice you
Yeah.
give them?
I think it's first of all, it's all about your vision and your mission.
Mhm.
What it is. Like when we started Grad Foundation, we were more basketball that we kind of like moved into the offerings. And
Right.
that's very okay. You don't have to have all the answers for you to start. It's
Mhm.
just what is it that matters to you?
Mhm.
If you were a kid that struggled with cancer growing up and had to fight cancer and beat cancer, maybe, start an organization that, supports cancer research might be a way for you. So, I think once you have that, I think that's really all the fuel, because you're going to need as much fuel as you can, because you're not in this to make any money. I also advise people that once you start, and let the foundation not be a full-time job, that it be something you do out of passion. I've seen a lot of people start a nonprofit, and the nonprofit goes to where it can, they can make money out of it and it pays them. And that's,
Right.
that's very okay. I mean, you should get paid for the effort that you put in if that's what you want to do. But what I'm saying is, once you want to start, don't look at coming into a nonprofit as your way for, as a way to earn, to live. And it's so important that you take care of yourself. You have a good job. I'm a virtual design engineer here in Nashville. What I do, there's not a lot of people that can do it. So that comes with, good pay. And that puts me in a situation where, I can care for other people. I can't be trying to help 200 kids, feed when I'm starving, So first of all, take care of yourself, have your vision. And once you have your vision, all of it is just easy paperwork. You go online, you come up with a name that you want for your nonprofit. There's a lot of websites that help you do that. There's a website that you can go to, and, it helps you do everything. But, if you want to go the generic way, you just go to the state that you're in and you try to search for your name and see if that name is taken. If it's not, you register it. Once you do that, the next step is trying to get, what's it called? You go on IRS website, you get your TIN number, which is kind of like a social security number for a business.
Right.
Once you get that number, you need that because that's what you're going to need to create a bank account. Once you have your TIN number and IRS gives you that, you pay about $100, $200, depending on what state. Yeah. You get your bank account and you're good to go. The other bigger process is the 501c3. That is the document that allows your nonprofit to become tax exempt. So whatever, that's where you get the big money, right? Big companies that are trying to get tax write-offs, they'll just donate however to you. Right. And it's, it's a tax write-off. And to get that, you need to get a CPA that handles nonprofit. It's a long process, it's a tedious process, but I think I paid about $1,300 for it. And it took about 3-4 months. And I got my 501c3 letter today. If you donate to Grad Foundation, tax season is coming up and you need that as a tax write-off, we just send you a thank you note, and that puts on there how much you donated, and you can attach that when you file, and that's a tax write-off for you. But yeah, just to reiterate your question, have your vision, your mission, and make sure that you're in a good state of mind, to start this journey. And you just go online, register, get your TIN number, get your account number, and somewhere down the road, get your 501c3.
All right. That's a bet. That's a bet. I even got some, I was taking some notes myself because I know that's something that, like my mom, she's really big into doing things for nonprofit organizations. She's looking to open one herself. So I got that written down here so we can take that game and give it back to her, see if she can put it to use. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for that. So before we wrap, man, anything that you want to leave the audience with? Any final words that you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, man. If I want to sum up my story, and I appreciate you having me on here, to the guys that have listened and made it this far, man, appreciate you. You're putting time into learning, educating yourself, especially in a time where everybody's just so locked on social media, where under 2 minutes you can, everybody wants to get a lot of information in 2 minutes, but I'm sorry, you can't get no quality of information in 2 minutes. Sometimes you have to sit down and put in the work and study. So, I want to appreciate the people that, listen to this. But if I want to sum up my story, I'll say it's a story of, taking advantage of opportunities. Through life, as we go through life, you would always, there will be hard circumstances. Things will happen to you that no matter how much you like to plan, you just cannot see it coming. And, but I want you to always think opportunity. If you go for a job interview and you don't get that job, think opportunity. If you get the job, still think opportunity. If you get a basketball scholarship, think opportunity. If you get dropped out of a team, still think opportunity. There are opportunities all around us, and your ability to take advantage of those opportunities, I think, is what is gonna give you the right attitude and help you stand out. When my freshman year, when I was playing in Idaho, that was an opportunity. An opportunity for what? Opportunity for me to get better, because I'm on the bench now and it sucks and I want to play. that's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for motivation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
When I came to Louisiana Tech and I was not playing much, that was an opportunity for me to get better. When I was in Nigeria and I came to US, that was an opportunity to make something out of myself, you know? So yeah, it's always, I mean, opportunities, man. I think that's it. You're gonna hear me
Yeah.
say that a lot, but it's always take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, man. It's important that we do because it's ultimately like the rule, use it before you lose it, right? The opportunity is not gonna
Mm,
always be there. And while they are everywhere, while it's there for that moment, make sure you take advantage of them.
that's awesome.
Man, my guy, Mo Muhammad, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Oh man, leave a power, man. You're doing a great thing, man. You know, one thing I like about it's just like being able, you know, a lot of people talk it, man, but not a lot of people can walk it. And you are definitely walking it, man. You
Appreciate
know
that,
what I'm
Mo.
saying? You have a full-time job and you getting this rolling and you putting good contents out there, you
Hmm.
know, and you've written a book, I mean, you are just, I mean, that's
Yeah.
a lot, that's life, man, just doing,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
Anybody can think, but it takes a lot to actually do, man.
That's a
Takes a
fact.
lot to do, and you know, I want to commend you for that, brother. I want to
Hey,
commend you for
man. My brother, I appreciate you, man.
the
There you
problem.
have it, folks. There you have it, folks. Mr. Mo, the man himself, from student athlete to professional to now a homeowner to a leader and just ultimately an inspiration for many. My guy, I appreciate you for
My
hopping
God,
on here,
man,
brother. And man, look, we got to catch up some more. What I'm
we
gonna
got
do,
to.
yeah, have to. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the link to the foundation here in the description of this
Okay.
video, and then we'll kind of get some more rollout, get some more brand awareness out for the foundation, and get some people, obviously in the Christmas spirit of
Heck
giving.
yeah,
Hopefully, we can get some people to contribute to that as well, man.
man.
So,
That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. And
yes,
I thank
sir.
y'all as y'all, you know, go through that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My guy. Listen,
All
brother.
right, bro.
Hey, man, stay safe, bro. Take it
You too,
easy.
man. You
Yes,
too.
sir. All right, bro. Peace.